Hi folks, it's Dr. John Raymond Baker, DC, and for those of you who've been followers of my channel for a while, you know that I have an eclectic subject base. Sometimes I talk about diseases, sometimes I talk about innovations, sometimes I even talk about politics, although not that much. Just a wide panoply of issues. And sometimes I warn you about things that I think are dangerous or might be not a good idea to indulge in. Now, full disclosure, at one point in my life, a much younger boy, since I had a lot of technical expertise, I worked as a tech support person at an extended warranty company in one of the biggest cities in Texas for one of the large companies. And I didn't know it till I started working there, but the whole raison d'etre, reason for being, was that this large insurance company pressured all of us techs not to do anything to help anybody or spend any money on these extended warranty. Basically, although it wasn't said in that many words, the idea got around to the people that you just keep them calling in, and you have them do so many silly things that finally they get frustrated and they quit calling. And for a bit there, I was working as a supervisor, so I even saw how much more draconian it was. Not only taking advantage, exploiting, and treating customers with abuse, but also the poor folks that worked there, because they only had so much time for bathroom breaks, and if they were on a call too long, if I was working supervisor duty, I had to go get them off the call or do whatever I need to do to move them on to the next call. So my background was that extended warranty, it was a waste of money. At least it was for the people who purchased extended warranties on printers and computers and all kinds of electronic equipment. Jump forward a few decades to my wife needing cars, and she bought one car brand new from Peltier, Peltier Nissan in Tyler, Texas, brand new. And then in the latter part of 2012, around December, she purchased a brand new Juke. It was a 2013 Juke, but we purchased it in 2012. I wasn't really a big fan of the cars, but it would be her car, so that's what we got. She did need a brand new car because she was doing an enormous amount of driving with her job, and I wanted her to be safe. So she bought a 2013 Juke. Now, those who've watched my channel very much know that there was a previous video I had to do where we took her car in, I believe, for a recall or some sort of service action, and they tore her seat or cut a hole in her seat, and then they didn't want to fix it. They wanted her to pay her money to have her own seat fixed after they had actually done the damage. So, being the person I am who doesn't like injustice to happen, especially somebody that I care about, I made a video and I got the word out to the powers that be that I'm not a happy camper. And because of the pressure that started rolling downhill, they started being peaches and cream. Oh yeah, we'll fix it. And they asked me to they asked me to take down the video. And I did. I didn't have to, but I was nice. And they didn't really do the repair up to what I thought was professional grade, but I guess they did the best they could. That's not really saying a heck of a lot, because I could see where the repair was done, and in a professional job you shouldn't be able to see where the repair was done. Okay, jump forward. Not long ago my wife told me that suddenly one day she was driving 70 miles an hour and she was losing power and it was dropping down, and she had the service engine light come on. Now, before that, she hadn't had the service engine light. She didn't have a low oil light. No warning light came on. Now, let's jump back to my job, my profession. As a doctor of chiropractic in Texas, any doctor is supposed to give you obtain from you what's called informed consent. That means that we're supposed to give you enough information about the good things that can happen and the bad things that can happen from a procedure, process, medication, or whatever, so that you can make a reasonable adult decision whether you want to try it or not. There was no informed consent with my wife. They didn't sit down and tell her, okay, here's the rules of the road. This is what you have to do to your car to make sure it doesn't have a problem. It's actually a crossover. It's a juke. And they didn't mandate she had to read the manual or read the extended warranty manual. Didn't tell her you have to leave it on a minute or two idling after you've driven it hard. Just like their big deal was, we'll make sure you can pay for it. Here's the keys, bye-bye. So anyway, she told them what was happening. Also, she had taken it in for repair on a recall where there was a driving chain problem. There's a lot of problems with new cars. You ever notice that? Anyway, so they said, we're pretty sure that this will be under warranty. Now, she was out of her regular warranty, but she purchased a special gold extended warranty. And so they gave her a car as a loaner car. Well, after they tear into it, they say that they talked to the warranty people who said they're not going to cover it. And that she was going to have to pay, like, I think $200 a day for this car that they'd loaned her, which said on the back window in big letters, Peltier rental car. So you'd be embarrassed anywhere you went because everybody's, oh, look at that, it's a Peltier rental car. So anyway, we had to take that back, go to a national chain that had a much cheaper price for their rental cars. And I believe, although I wasn't a party to the first discussion nor the second discussion, that she was told either by the service people or by the warranty people that the viscosity of the oil was less than it should be, and that caused the bearings to burn up in the turbo. Well, I'm not a mechanic, but I'm not a fool either. So I started looking up, what the nature of the turbo is in the Juke, and I found that it's water cooled. And in fact, just about all the references in the different forums and stuff was, hey, it's water cooled. That's what the turbo is cooled by. It's water / coolant. And I found 2 places, or maybe just one, that talked about some turbos, or maybe some Juke turbos, having a combination water and oil cooling mechanism for the turbo. But even then, the water was the main cooling factor. It wasn't engine oil that was cooling the turbo. So the viscosity wouldn't have really an impact if you've got water, which is very, very, very less viscous than oil. Anyway, so then I learned today, actually a little while ago from my wife, that now they're saying the oil was burnt up. And I learned enough about oil also that there's supposed to be a certain test that you use for oil, not just looking at it and go, it's burnt up. Now my wife, very fastidious about taking care of her car because it was, only her second new car ever. So she used the proper oil. She always kept it full of oil. And in fact, even though no one told her, she had learned from a mechanic friend of ours that, hey, when you're driving your car, these turbo Jukes, you should leave it idle a minute or two so it cools down. So even though no one at the dealership, nothing in writing told her to do that, just as a matter of course, when we would go somewhere, as we were pulling into a parking spot or pulling up to some place to stop, she'd turn around, talk to me for a minute or two, and then turn the vehicle off. So she was doing at that point everything she could to take care of her car. And so now it falls down on this extended warranty. And I have the feeling that their quote-unquote extended warranty people are much like the ones where I worked on tech support, that they're pressured not to okay any claims and certainly not to pay for anything, any repairs. And I remember there was a guy that worked for a health insurance health insurance organization. His job was solely to find things that they could deny payment on a health care claim. This young lady, I think in her 20s or 30s, had developed cancer. I don't know if it was the uterus or ovarian cancer, but it was very serious. And he found that she had had either yeast infection or mononucleosis when she was 12 or 13 or something. And she had, quote unquote, disclosed that when she filled out the application of the diseases she had had, whatever. Yeast infection, mono, something like that. Most people don't think that's something that bad. And for goodness sake, you know, in 20 years or 15 years, you could forget you even had it. But they were not going to pay for her cancer treatment solely on that basis. And so it looks like that the extended warranty people of Nissan USA, and by the way, I've got the emails and the phone numbers of all the head honchos at Nissan USA, and I'll probably publish those where they'll be easy to find, are just fine with the extended warranty companies screwing people over to the tune of $2,300. I don't know how much you get paid, but for me and my wife, $2,300 is an enormous amount of money. And at 60 or 70,000 miles, if we do something like that would happen, I never purchased it because I've got other cars. I've got one car that's got 200,000 miles. I don't worry much about my changing the oil. So the warning here, and there certainly is a warning here, is think twice about buying a Nissan vehicle. Like I say, I've got cars with 200,000 miles that are American made. One is a Pontiac, and they don't make Pontiacs anymore, but it's still going. I don't have a problem with it. Got a Chevy pickup. It's still doing fine. So this Nissan breaks at 60 or 70,000 miles. They don't want to pay for it. They want to weasel out of the extended warranty deal using a bogus thing talking about oil viscosity, where earlier they said it was less viscous. Now they're saying it's too viscous, it's burnt. Seems like the extended warranty guys aren't having a meeting on this account or reading each other's call notes, so they're kind of making up different stories. You know, somebody just must have told them anytime these bearings fail, just use viscosity. Certainly there are scientific ways of testing for viscosity, and it's not just pulling some oil out of the engine, holding it up to the light and going, it's dark. Sometimes dark oil is great oil. I've seen oil turn dark in cars in, 1,000 miles after it was brand new clean oil put in, clean filter. So anyway, think twice about going to Peltier Nissan, and certainly think a million times before getting an extended warranty, where you're going to be paying for a gold extended warranty, and they're wanting to charge you $2,300, which is something they should cover. And I hope Peltier Nissan is watching this, and anybody that doesn't know the company, it's Peltier, and they sell other vehicles, I believe, beside Nissans. But I believe it's the same people that are on top of the flow chart. If you know how these flow charts where they show who's at the top, like when they do the mafia, you know, they have the mafiosa at top, and then the captains, capos, and all that. So I think they probably have the same person at the top of their flow chart. Anyway, so I hope everybody listened to me, and I don't want to see you screwed over for $2,300, and I think it's pretty pathetic that they're doing something like this. But I promise them I will get more than $2,300 out of negative publicity for them, and I've been good for my word before, and I'll be good for my word now. So, with that, beware of Peltier Nissan. Be doubly aware of their gold extended warranty, and hell, stick with American-made cars, for God's sake. Take care. Dr. John Baker, DC, out. Thanks for watching.